not like the beginnings you are used to. There is no loud bell ringing, no dramatic milestone, no single event demanding your attention all at once. It comes quietly, softly, like the moment just before dawn, when the sky hesitates between night and day. And it is in that stillness that a new cycle begins to take shape. You may not be able to name what is changing. You only sense that you are no longer standing in the same place. Things that once felt familiar now feel slightly distant. Emotions you once accepted without question begin to ask something of you. Paths you believed were solid no longer offer the same sense of safety. And you are not wrong for feeling this way, because when one chapter of life is coming to an end, the old sense of peace is always the first thing to crack. This is not a month that demands big decisions right away. It is a month shaped by small questions, persistent ones. Questions that return quietly in ordinary moments. While you are driving alone, when you wake up in the middle of the night, when you catch your own reflection and suddenly realize your eyes are different. No longer the eyes of endurance, no longer the eyes of someone forcing themselves to hold on just a little longer, but the eyes of someone searching for something that truly belongs to them. Cancer, you live through emotion, yet you are also someone who has learned to hide what moves inside. You choose silence, you choose endurance, you choose stability so nothing around you is disturbed. But this month, that silence begins to speak. It does not shout, it whispers, and that is why you are meant to listen. You may not be ready to call this a beginning, but your body knows, your heart knows. A new current of life is moving quietly beneath the surface of days that seem ordinary, like a seed deep in the soil, not yet breaking the ground, yet already alive, already shifting. There is no way to stop it, and there is no reason to fear it. What matters most now is not what you must do next. It is allowing yourself to feel, allowing unclear emotions to exist, allowing yourself not to have immediate answers. Because sometimes, new life must be nurtured in darkness before it is strong enough to step into the light. Cancer stands at a very rare intersection, a place where the past can no longer hold you the way it once did, but the future does not require you to rush toward it either. All that is asked of you is presence, honesty with yourself, and the courage not to turn away from the quiet, knowing that something has already begun to move. And when you learn to stay with that movement, without forcing it, without panic, you will begin to notice that things are being arranged gently around you. Small details start to appear, subtle signs, fragile yet clearer than before, as if life itself is opening a door very slowly, slow enough that you are not overwhelmed, slow enough that you can carry only what you truly need into what comes next. There is nothing to rush, nothing to prove, only a new current forming. And Cancer is learning to feel its rhythm before allowing themselves to drift with it in the most natural way possible. There are seasons in life when nothing completely falls apart, yet nothing stays the same either. Cancer may be living right inside that in-between space. Days pass with a slight sense of imbalance, a quiet unease, as if the familiar rhythm of life has shifted just half a beat off. Not strong enough to call it a crisis, but clear enough that you cannot ignore it. And that is exactly what makes many Cancers wonder if they are somehow walking the wrong path. The truth is, not all disruption carries a negative meaning. Some forms of chaos do not arrive to destroy, but to rearrange, like a room that has been closed for too long. When the light finally enters, dust rises, clutter reveals itself. But only in that moment do you see clearly what is worth keeping and what has quietly outlived its time. This month carries that same kind of energy, a necessary disturbance, so you no longer have to live inside patterns that have grown too small for who you are becoming. Cancer, you are someone who values safety. You know how much to give, how much to endure, how silent you must remain so nothing breaks. But life does not always allow us to stay inside an old shell forever. And when movement begins, it does not ask whether you feel ready. It asks only one question, soft, yet incredibly deep. Do you have the courage to take one more step? Not everyone needs to change their entire life right now. Not everyone must turn in a completely new direction. But no one can remain in the same place with the same way of thinking. Some Cancers will realize they no longer accept things they once considered normal. Some will see they can no longer compromise within relationships that exist only out of habit. Others will feel discomfort with the very limits they once created to protect everyone else. That discomfort can be exhausting. It can make you doubt yourself. But remember this, when a person begins to grow, comfort is often the first thing to leave. And that does not mean you are lost. It means you are being invited to live more honestly with the person you are becoming. There will be days this month when Cancer feels pushed out of a familiar comfort zone. No one is forcing you. No one is shoving you forward. It is simply a series of small situations, one after another, asking you to respond differently, to think differently, to face things you once avoided. And in those moments, fear may appear. But inside that fear, a quiet strength begins to rise. Not the strength of control, but the strength of staying with uncertainty without running away. The strength to admit you do not yet have the answers and still continue forward. The strength to trust that even when you cannot see the order still exists, working at a deeper level where every piece is slowly finding its way back to where it belongs. And when you allow yourself to slow down inside the disruption, you begin to notice something else. Subtle signs, small details that repeat, encounters that feel coincidental, words spoken casually, yet landing exactly where they need to. As if an invisible current is gently guiding you forward. Not loudly, not forcefully, just clear enough so you no longer feel alone in this process of becoming. And it is within that feeling of no longer being alone that Cancer begins to notice something quietly unfolding around them. Very subtle, very discreet, so gentle that if you move too fast, you would miss it entirely. These moments do not arrive as grand signs or clear declarations. They come as a soft touch on your intuition, like a breeze passing by while you are standing still, not thinking of anything at all. It may appear as a meeting that seems completely accidental, an old friend you have not spoken to in years, a new face showing up at the exact moment you feel most exhausted, or even a stranger who speaks the one sentence you needed to hear. None of them realize they have touched something very deep inside you. But Cancer knows, because your heart responds before your mind has time to ask questions. Sometimes it arrives as a message at a strangely perfect moment, not too early, not too late, exactly when you are hesitating, when you are unsure whether to let go or to hold on. A short text, an unexpected call, or a casual remark that lingers in your thoughts long after it was spoken. Not because it sounded beautiful, but because it was true. True to what you have been hiding. True to what you have not yet dared to admit. And there are also moments when no one appears at all. No clear message, no visible sign. Only a feeling that is difficult to name. An intuition that comes and goes, yet leaves a quiet echo behind. You cannot explain why you feel drawn in a certain direction. Why you trust this choice. Why a door that looks ordinary causes your heart to tremble ever so slightly. But Cancer, not all guidance requires logic. Some paths open only for those who are sensitive enough to feel them, not for those who need to analyze every step. These signals do not demand immediate action. They do not push you to rush forward. They simply invite you to slow down, slow enough to hear your inner voice, slow enough to distinguish old fear from new intuition, slow enough to realize that some things, even without the full picture, already bring you a sense of safety in a very different way. Cancer has always been someone who places the emotions of others first. But in moments like these, the signals gently guide you back to yourself. They do not ask you to become stronger or to sacrifice more. They simply remind you that you also deserve to be heard, to be protected, to move at a rhythm that truly suits you. And the strange thing is, when you begin to honor that feeling, the small pieces around you starts falling into place naturally. You may not yet be able to name the road ahead. You may still carry doubts, challenges, uncertain days. But deep within, a very quiet trust is forming, that you are not lost, that what is arriving, even in the smallest forms, has its reason. And when you allow yourself to trust a little more, to listen a little longer, your heart begins to soften, as if you have found a new rhythm of breathing, an invisible anchor, gentle yet steady enough to help you keep moving forward. And as that new rhythm of breathing begins to feel familiar, the emotional world of Cancer starts to come alive in a deeper way than ever before. You may notice yourself smiling more, feeling more easily moved, reaching moments of joy with less effort than in previous months. Connections that once seemed small now carry a genuine warmth, a conversation that lasts longer than usual, a look that makes you feel truly understood, a moment of sharing that softens your heart without the need for defenses. Life begins to open itself to you, and quietly, you begin to open yourself to life as well. But it is often right where the light shines brightest that Cancer must learn to stay grounded. Because when emotions rise, boundaries can blur. You are used to loving with everything you have, used to giving without calculation, used to placing trust in another's hands before asking whether you yourself are ready. And this month, that quality becomes both a gift and a test. You may feel the urge to speak more, to give more, to move closer, to hold tightly to beautiful moments, afraid that if you loosen your grip, they might disappear. But Cancer, not everything beautiful needs to be held tightly. Some things bloom only when they are left undisturbed. Some connections grow stronger only when both sides are allowed to breathe, allowed to be themselves, not swept away by an emotional pace that moves too fast. That is where the quiet wisdom of this month lives. Not in learning how to close your heart, but in learning how to settle it. A small pause in the middle of rising emotion. A gentle stop before you react, before you promise, before you give more than is truly necessary. That pause does not make you colder. It simply makes you clearer with yourself. During these days, there may be moments when you feel pulled in many directions. Invitations, expectations, the emotions of others colliding with your own deeply sensitive inner world. And if you're not careful, you may forget to listen to the deepest voice within you, the voice that does not shout, that does not demand, yet always knows what is right for you in this moment. Keeping a moment of stillness does not mean withdrawing from life. It simply means choosing to stand still for a moment within the current, so you can see more clearly what is truly meant for you and what is only passing through. When you allow yourself to slow down, you begin to realize that the important signals have not disappeared. They are still there, clearer, gentler, waiting for you to become quiet enough to recognize them. And it is within that quiet that Cancer begins to feel a very new kind of balance. No longer the effort to please everyone, but the ability to stay with your own emotions without being carried away by them. A quiet steadiness begins to form, strong enough to help you keep moving forward with an open heart and with a soft, gentle awareness that protects who you are becoming. And when you are no longer carried away by passing emotional waves, a very different space begins to open inside Cancer. A quieter space, a deeper one. A place where old memories no longer shout to be remembered, but rest quietly, like pages in a book that is closed after completing its purpose. You may begin to notice that certain love stories, once so important, once so defining, no longer sting the way they used to. Not because you have become cold, but because you have gone deep enough to understand that they ended at exactly the right time. This transformation does not arrive as a shock. It comes slowly, like old skin gently shedding after a long season of endurance. There may have been times when you felt completely drained, loving without being met, giving without being seen, sacrificing while still feeling alone. Moments that once made you question whether your heart had the strength to open again. But Cancer, it is precisely because you reach the deepest edge of those emotions that something beautiful becomes possible now. The ability to begin again without carrying old wounds forward. This month, love no longer arrives as a chase or a desperate holding on. It comes softer, more mature, very different from what you once knew. For some Cancers, this may look like a new person entering your life quietly. No noise, no effort to be noticed, just a presence that makes you feel safe. Not because of grand promises, but because you are allowed to be yourself when you are with them. No armor, no proving, no tightening your heart just to be loved. For those Cancers already in a relationship, this is a precious time for healing. Not through dramatic words, but through honesty. Honesty about what has hurt you. Honesty about what you once endured in silence. And most importantly, honesty with yourself about what you truly need to remain. When honesty is offered gently, love is given the chance to heal in a natural way, without force, without blame. But perhaps the deepest shift is happening in another direction altogether. It is the way Cancer begins to look at themselves, no longer through the lens of past relationships, no longer measuring worth by who you loved, who chose you, or who walked away. Instead, a more grounded, more compassionate gaze toward who you are now. You begin to understand that loving yourself does not mean closing your heart. It means refusing to let it be depleted by what no longer fits. You may feel a new kind of warmth when you are alone. Not emptiness, but rest. Being fully present in your own space without waiting for someone else to fill it. And from that sense of fullness, if a new love appears, it will no longer come as compensation, but as companionship. Love in this season does not ask you to become a different version of yourself. It simply invites you to carry forward everything you have learned, everything you have endured, everything you have healed. To keep walking with a heart that remains soft, yet no longer so easily wounded. And when you allow yourself to love in this way, you realize something important. You have not lost your ability to love. You are simply loving differently now, more deeply, more clearly, and more truthfully with yourself. And as the heart begins to carry less weight from old stories, Cancer starts to see the world with a steadier, more grounded gaze. This shift becomes especially clear in the way you now approach your work and the path you are walking. There is no longer the feeling that you must constantly race to prove your worth. No longer the fear that slowing down even slightly means being left behind. In its place, a rare calm begins to settle, as if, at last, you have found a pace that truly belongs to you. This month, work does not arrive as dramatic turning points or changes that make your heart tighten. It moves forward through small, steady motions, quiet, consistent, yet deeply meaningful. You may not see striking results right away, but beneath the surface, a new foundation is being laid. Each day you show up fully. Each time you do something well, even when it seems ordinary. All of it is building something more sustainable for the future. For Cancers who have been searching for a new opportunity, the waiting may have felt long. There were moments when you questioned whether your effort was disappearing into empty space. But trust this, when you become clear about your own value and what you are truly here to contribute, the right door appears, not as a sudden miracle, but as a well-timed invitation, arriving when you are ready to step through without sacrificing your peace. For Cancers who are already in a stable position, this is a period of strengthening. You may learn a new skill, take on additional responsibility, or simply gain a deeper understanding of your role within a larger whole. None of this is loud, but all of it helps you stand more firmly. And most importantly, you are no longer working just to survive. You begin to see the long-term meaning of what you are building. What is especially valuable this month is that you stop tying your entire sense of worth to immediate results. You understand that a career, like inner growth, needs time to mature. When you allow yourself to move slowly but steadily, without forcing instant success, your work begins to feel lighter, less anxiety, less comparison. And that ease is exactly what gives you greater endurance. There are mornings when you wake up with a quiet certainty that you are on the right path, even if you cannot yet name the destination. There are evenings when you look back on the day and realize you have done enough. You have tried enough. And that is enough for today. This sense of stability does not keep you stuck. It gives you something to lean on. So when larger opportunities arrive, you can meet them without losing your balance. And within this quiet steadiness, Cancer begins to understand something essential. Success does not always arrive with applause. Sometimes it comes silently. Through the deep sense of peace that grows when you know you are building a life aligned with your true values. A path that is not flashy, yet strong enough to keep moving forward. With the trust that what you are planting today will bloom in its own time. And as your work begins to provide a deeper sense of stability, the material flow in your life starts to move in its own quiet way. Not loudly, not with display, but clearly enough for Cancer to sense that something has shifted in how money finds its way to you. You may not be actively searching, yet opportunities appear right when you feel less tense, less burdened, less driven by a mindset of lack than before. Money in this phase does not come from risk or reckless chances. It arrives like an unexpected door opening, leaving you slightly surprised by how much easier things feel than you once imagined. An offer, a collaboration, a new source of income emerging from work you have already done, quietly, patiently, over time. The first feeling may be relief, even excitement. After a long period of carrying financial worry, you finally feel able to breathe again. But Cancer, it is precisely because of that feeling that clarity becomes especially important. When money arrives quickly, it can easily awaken long-buried desires, delayed dreams, needs that were suppressed for far too long. You may feel the urge to grab hold immediately, to say yes without hesitation, to believe that this time everything will flow smoothly. And that reaction is completely human. You have been through enough to deserve this lightness. Still, this month gently asks you to slow down by one beat, not to distrust everything, but to protect yourself. Read what is placed in front of you carefully. Listen closely to what is not being said. Do not let early excitement blur the smaller details, because those details are what determine your long-term security. Money, like emotion, needs to be welcomed with both heart and awareness. There may be invitations that sound very appealing, promises that sound beautiful, but Cancer has grown far beyond who they once were. You no longer need to believe simply because you fear missing out. You no longer need to agree simply because you fear not being chosen. You are allowed to pause, to think, to choose what truly aligns with your values. And here is the interesting part. When you do that, the right opportunities do not disappear. They stay, they wait, until you're ready to step forward with steadiness. If you maintain your calm, the financial flow during this period carries many positive signals, not just numbers, but the feeling of being supported, recognized, and rewarded in proportion to the effort you have given. Money no longer feels like pressure. It slowly becomes a tool that allows you to live more lightly, more securely, with more space to care for what truly matters. And in the moment you realize that money no longer controls your emotions the way it once did, a very new kind of freedom begins to form. Not freedom because you have so much, but freedom because you know what is enough. You know where your limits are, and you know how to receive what comes without losing your inner balance. And after you have moved through all of these shifts, from emotion to work to money, something simple, yet deeply profound, begins to reveal itself more clearly than ever before. Peace. Not the kind of peace that comes when every problem disappears, but the kind that arrives when you are no longer dragged along by them. You are still living your life, still carrying responsibilities, still making choices. But inside, the waves no longer crash the way they once did. The water grows calmer, still enough to reflect the truth. Cancer has long been used to living in a state of concern for others, anticipating what might happen, guarding against pain before it arrives. But this month, you are gently invited to set that weight down. Not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to understand that not everything needs to be controlled. Some things only need to be trusted. Some paths only appear when the mind is no longer clouded by anger, by worry, or by the urgent need to have everything figured out right away. Peace in this season does not come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from accepting that you do not have to be perfect at all. You do not need to make the fastest decisions, the strongest moves, or please everyone around you. When you allow yourself to pause for just one beat, to breathe a little deeper, you begin to realize something important. The path ahead has been there all along, clear, quiet. You simply could not see it before because there was too much noise inside. There may be nights when your dreams feel unusual, not exactly messages, not something that needs to be analyzed, just images, just emotions that linger when you wake. There may be mornings when you rise with a feeling that is difficult to name, as if you know what to do, even if you cannot yet explain it in words. Cancer, that is not coincidence. When the mind becomes still, intuition finally has room to speak. And it always speaks to you in the gentlest language of all.